A new report finds a coordinated cyber espionage campaign helped China steal intellectual property from both U.S. and European aerospace companies. The multi-year effort helped further the development of China's C919 twin-jet aircraft. It was designed to compete with similar aircraft from Airbus and Boeing. Boy, that does look like, well, a wonderful adaptation. The report adds the operation saved China billions and billions of dollars. They just copied the technical details of the components that were eventually used to build the airplane. Well, why don't we steal things? Why is it just the Chinese? Shouldn't we wise up too? Well, to answer that question and others, Dr. Michael Pillsbury joins us, director of the Center for Chinese Strategy at the Hudson Institute. And Michael, it's great to see you. And I have to say, the Chinese, they certainly understand how to, that looks like the height of efficiency and productivity, just to steal what you need.
Yes, I'm afraid they've got a better strategy, Lou.
You do?
I think they've got a better strategy than we do.
Oh, yeah, I think they do as well. And I'm wondering seriously about this latest, what appears to be an outright reversal of what many, including the president himself, had taken as a pledge for $40 to $50 billion in agricultural products and a phase one. Just needed paper, said Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary. Looks like it needs a lot more than that.
Well, I think that's right. It is only phase one, so phase two could be a lot more confrontational when the big issues have been left and the issue of enforcement isn't settled yet.
I'm not much of a negotiator, so I'm looking to you for some insight. At what point do you decide, if you lead a nation or lead a company, that someone is just unworthy of your trust, and that it's simply a waste of time, and that perhaps you should reconsider?
Well, a lot further down the road than we are now. There's still elements of cooperation between the U.S. and China. They support us on Iran, for example, at least in principle. They support us to some degree on North Korea. There's some interest in nuclear arms control talks with them. They deny all the allegations that were made against them a year and a half ago. They claim they never engage in intellectual property theft. So on the basis of that, at least they're not trying to stick their finger in our eye and say, you know, we're going to dominate you for sure, you better learn to like it.
Well, how would you infer what President Xi has said over the past year? How would you interpret what admirals and generals of the PLA have said about the United States destroying our carriers, ultimately dominating the world, said President Xi?
Well, they're getting tougher and tougher and more nasty. What's happening also is the reformers on whom we were counting. It's in Bob Lighthizer testimony last year. The reformers are more and more getting put in jail or otherwise neutralized. There was a very famous
This is not a good sign for reform, is it?
No. A very famous economist in China, given an award by the Cato Institute, as a matter of fact. Right. The very day he got the award, they shut down his think tank and shut down his website.
Well, I can see why everybody's very ebullient about the prospects for succeeding with a deal with China. My gosh, that's just going swimmingly, and they've got a million folks sitting in concentration camps and threatening. Xi today talking about crushing bones. It got to be rather graphic. I mean, I have to tell you, just as a citizen, because that's all I am, I don't like the way they talk, and I sure don't like it even a little bit.
Well, we're in a new approach. The president, the first year, had Wilbur Ross in charge, and the idea was to have a great deal of investment by China in our companies. The second year, as Bob Lighthizer was in charge, it was going to be the year of negotiation. I think we've moved now into the year of Steve Mnuchin in charge. And Steve has succeeded in getting the investment bankers of America open access to China. This is one of the biggest breakthroughs on Friday. He may succeed.
Wait a minute. It's a breakthrough? Or is it a pretend breakthrough? Because nothing else that was ostensibly agreed to is for real. because
No,
they
this
mean
is-
to
this is a
lift all.
breakthrough.
They mean for us to lift all of our tariffs, which are working splendidly,
Right.
of course.
That's their position, to lift all the tariffs.
Yeah.
If you look at a Wall Street Journal article back in January of this year by Bob Davis and Ling Wei, they quote Steve Mnuchin saying the solution is going to be to lift the tariffs. So Steve tends to agree with the Chinese. Lifting the tariffs is the way forward. But I'm praising Mnuchin. He for sure has opened up the Chinese market to American investment banks. That was announced about a month ago. The Chinese are making it happen. Our investment bankers, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and so forth, they're thrilled by this. However,
So we
it
got
doesn't
two winners.
help.
We got investment bankers and we've got farmers.
Yes,
You know, you're talking to a populist here. I'm not thrilled about this right now.
Well, you shouldn't be thrilled. You shouldn't be thrilled. The tactic here is to postpone the harder issues until phase 2. But phase 1 isn't even locked up yet, and it could
Yeah.
explode in our faces. By the way, I'm for more pressure. I made it very clear in my memo about a month ago. We need to have a lot more pressure on China to get serious concessions. But that's not the approach Secretary Mnuchin's taking for the present.
Well, I hope that memo is, you know, a live wire sitting on the desk of the president. I just, for the life of me, Mike, I just can't, in all seriousness, I cannot comprehend accepting the insult, watching twice China renege. This is an insult to the president. It's an insult to the United States. And I really don't give a damn about a single investment banker in this country having open access to China, because I hate to think what, if you will forgive the expression, the quid pro quo might be.
Just to defend the president for a second, in that press conference on Friday, you'll notice quite a few times he would not answer the question himself. He would turn to Steve Mnuchin. So this is very much Steve Mnuchin's turn at the bat, in my view.
Well, you don't have to defend the president ever with me. I support this president enthusiastically, as I know you do. And
I
as
do. He seems to believe in delegating things, though, to a lead cabinet person for a while.
Right.
Then if it doesn't work, he picks someone else.
Well, there's an old saying, isn't there? Personnel is
what's that?
policy.
Yes, very much.
Michael, great to have you with us. We appreciate it as always.
Thanks, sir.
Instructive. Thank you, sir. We're coming right back. Former special assistant to